Well, that was an interesting weekend to say the least. A bunch of FUD flies into the market, Bitcoin takes a dump, dragging the alt sector with it as it typically does, and Theta being no exception, and kind of piss poor timing really, as Theta's World Poker Tour Episode 1 was premiering right around that time. Anyway, my name is Kyle, welcome to the channel. Today's video, we're going to take a look at Theta, we'll talk about the price action of Theta, as well as what I think about what's going on. Is this just a bunch of FUD and hullabaloo? Is Theta holding up okay? Could there be some more downside in the short term, some upside in the midterm? Let's get into the video. And starting off nice and easy here over on Coinbase, looking at the 24-hour line chart, we see in the short term the rolling hills of distribution as price action just worked its way to the downside and looks to be sticking on a daily low around $10.32, at least at the time of recording. We see that Theta is down 1.3% on the day, 8% on the week, but still up 31% on the month, and that yearly is still up 13,224, which is still absolutely epic. Down here, we see that the 24-hour volume is 574 million, and the market cap is hanging on to 11 billion. And quickly stopping over at CoinMarketCap, we see Theta has slipped to rank number 16, but is still holding up in the top 20 and is trading at $11.02. And for those of you that may have missed it, the first episode of the World Poker Tour Theta Network Cash Game has come to pass. And I'll be leaving this link in the description down below for anybody that would like to come over here and watch it. But as you can see, Theta Network on full display right in the heart of the action. So nice to see Theta getting some exposure here. And while you're over here, don't forget to stop by my channel here and say hi to me as well. I'll leave a link for this in the pinned comments down below, as well as the description. But as you can see, I do have a Theta TV channel, and I've been posting content over here, and I will be posting more content very, very soon. So definitely come on over here and say hi. And for those that are looking to catch the next Theta Network World Poker Tour Cash Game, Part 2 is going to be on April 25th, 2021. So be sure to mark that on your calendars if you're interested in catching that live. And here we have Theta up on the daily chart in TradingView. And just a few days ago, Theta was making its move to the upside right here. A lot of people were thinking this was the breakout. Heck, even when I was making videos in this price action here, I was saying, well, it's probable it's going to give it an attempt. But anybody that's been following this channel knows that I personally look for the daily candle body closures above these major areas. So for anybody that's new to technical analysis, I look for the thicker part of the candle to close above these levels. I never front run these kinds of things. And this is just another classic example of that. You see price action get up above that zone, gets pushed back into the liquid zone, and then of course the black swan event of the Bitcoin FUD comes in, and then the cascading effect to the downside. And that's, for me, that's likely what caused Theta to rip to the downside. Now, who knows if that's just all a bunch of FUD? It sure looks that way to me as it shows up on a Sunday as a rumor. I'm trying to find some more, news-related articles about it to see if that has been confirmed as FUD or not. But until then, at least I have the power of technical analysis to look for certain conditions between buyers and sellers to kind of get a gauge of what's going on there. Now, if I come over to the Bitcoin chart, what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing price action holding above that 55. But if you come to the CME chart here on the daily, it looks to me like it just simply filled this gap down here. Check that out. You see this wick coming down and pretty much coming into contact with this wick here. Perhaps this is a gap fill and price action may find its footing and work its way to the upside. Of course, if this FUD becomes real and actionable, well, then we're likely going to see that show up in the price action and be able to make decisions based upon that. But coming back over to T-Fuel here, to Theta, I see T-Fuel up above it. I'm going to be covering that in another video here. But anyways, we see that the everyone gets faked out, price goes to the downside, and I also talked about that 55. I talk about the 55 quite frequently on this channel, and the move to the downside came in. Unfortunately, there was no confirmations, which I was looking for daily candle body closures below $11.19 to, for something that's actionable, like a condition to be met that's signaling to me that, hey, there's a probable test of the 55 coming. But the cascading effect of liquidations going on the FUD from over leveraged traders, causing the waterfall to the downside, look where price action comes. It still comes down to that 55, hits it, wicks a little bit below it, and price action gets shot straight back up into this overall range and just sideways consolidation. Now, that brings us forward to now, and what we're seeing is that Theta is still drooping down below this horizontal here at $11.19, and my conditions remain the same. If this daily candle body closes below this horizontal, then I'm going to be looking for another retest of that 55, as the bulls will likely be holding their breath at that time. And that 55 is coming in around $9.65. I'd be looking for a potential bounce there, but however, if price action closes below that 55, then I'm going to be looking down to this liquid zone down below here. It has a top side coming in around $8 and a bottom side coming in around $7.34, and the 89 29 exponential moving average is living right in the middle of that zone. So likely that'd be a pretty significant bounce, so long as the sky is not falling or that there's not some other kind of black swan event taking place at that time. Now, if price action closes above this horizontal, for me, the most probable scenario is just sideways consolidation as Theta builds up some pressure. Hopefully we see some bullish reaccumulation. Then I'd be looking for it to test the top side of this liquid zone once more. Now, I still view that as the probable scenario right now because overall things are very, very bullish. They're bullish for Theta, bullish for the crypto space as a whole. Yes, there's a bit of a shakeout going on right now, but again, we're just going to have to be patient and see what comes of all that. But until I see it confirmed within the price structure of an asset, I'm not going to put on the bear goggles just yet. Of course, I always entertain the possibilities to the downside because I simply like to have a plan. I like to be prepared for those kinds of things. As you can see, they happen. And all the speculation in the world, all the rumors in the world, and all the news in the world is not going to help you when there's somebody out there selling, or it can be a group of people selling. In other words, just simply an imbalance between the buyers and sellers. These cascading effects come to the downside, and anybody that isn't strategizing gets caught way off guard with this kind of stuff, and it's not a pleasant thing to go through. So it's just simply how I don't approach markets this way. It's not how I operate within markets. I try to have a balanced approach. I like being excited about projects. I think Theta is a really cool project. I want to see it go up higher. It is still bullish as far as I'm concerned until price action tells me it's not. And with all that being said, I try the best I can to stifle my emotions and just simply look at this from a balanced lens so that I can make proper plans when it comes to putting my money at risk. That's just how I'm going to simply continue to do it. Coming down here to the RSI, RSI is still under pressure, falling out of the bullish control zone. Now we have the exponential with a fairly negative slope to the downside, and it looks to me that the RSI will likely test the edge of the bearish control zone. So perhaps if price action does come down and retest that 55, perhaps that's when the RSI comes into contact with the bearish control zone here. And I see the moving averages on the MACD are still pretty aggressively sloped to the downside, and we're seeing another pretty big bar of negative momentum showing up here on the histogram. Stochastics pressure down. They've just been basically swerving around the neutral zone here, but now are looking like they're going to test the edge of the bearish control zone once more. And so, yeah, things to me here still look like they're under pressure, but if this candle closes within this range, then likely sideways consolidation will be the name of the game. So hopefully nobody got too wrecked over this right here. I hope this picks itself back up. I think this is going to heavily depend upon Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin is also trying to find its footing on the 55 here. Another thing I could say about this is potentially, I'm just going to put my crosshairs. I'll show you one more little tidbit here. Now, this is not confirmed yet, but from this pivot point right here to this pivot point here, we can see that the RSI is dipping down just ever so slightly. So perhaps if we see some hidden bullish divergence confirm itself, likely not on this candle, but perhaps in the next candle, then maybe that comes into play and could be quite actionable, as you know, Bitcoin is, in my view, still just consolidating at a very high level below some very significant resistance here. But if it does get up above here, then it's going to go back into price discovery, and that's when I think we'll see our next major leg to the upside. But of course, right now, the bulls are holding their breath. Perhaps this was just a gap fill right here. It's looking that way to me. And of course, now we have another giant gap here. And again, these don't necessarily have to fill, but historically speaking, they've been fairly magnetic for price action. They've been fairly reliable. Of course, there's been some gaps. I mean, down here, there's one that has not been filled. So if you're just going to blindly trade gaps, well, then that means maybe Bitcoin's coming down to 24,600. So you always got to consider that, have a balanced approach, look for confluence over these things before making those decisions. But it's not unreasonable to think that this is a little bit of a gap fill here. And it's not unreasonable to think that we may, at the very least, fill this gap here over the coming days. But again, we're going to just have to keep our eyes on the sentiment of the market. There is such thing as FUD, but there's also such thing as FUD no longer being FUD and becoming something that is going to stick in a greater correction. And Bitcoin does have corrections, and it will continue to do so. Markets don't move up in a straight line. And overall, you know, if a correction happens here, well, we're just going to have to keep our eyes on it. But as of right now, I'm just staying frosty, you know, keeping my eyes on things here. I do see some pressure on Theta, but again, we're just going to look to the price action, look for those conditions to be met, and then try to make the best actionable decisions that we possibly can from there. So hopefully you're all doing well out there. Thanks so much for coming by and checking out this video. Looking forward to seeing the next one. And until I do, have yourselves a powerful day.